For most of us, we probably consider that Monday is the first day of the week. And our gospel today begins with Matthew telling us that it was towards dawn on the first day of the week. Jerusalem, at the time of Jesus, just after Jesus had died, was getting back to work. They had a number of days off celebrating Passover. We know what this experience is like. For Jerusalem, the holidays were over and life was getting back to normal. A bit like what some of us might have to do come Tuesday, unless you're on school holidays. Lucky for those on school holidays. For the Jewish people at the time of Jesus, Sunday was the first day of the working week. In the Greek New Testament, the phrase the first day of the week actually translates literally as the first of 7 days of the week. I invite you now to consider what occurred on the first day of creation. So we're going to go right back to the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 1, the very beginning of the Bible. I'm sure you all remember it. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was moving over the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw that the light was good. And God separated the light from darkness. And then there was evening. And there was morning, the first day. You might have heard these words before, the beginning of the Bible. Through Jesus' death and resurrection, Jesus becomes the light that separates us from darkness. He becomes the Spirit that is moving over the face of the waters of the earth through the sacrament of baptism. He becomes the eternal experience of goodness. For us as Christians, the first day of the week has become the day of the resurrection, the Lord's Day. Today is not just a day off, nor is today the end of the week, as the Sabbath was the seventh day of the week for the Jewish people. Rather, today is actually the first day of the week. Today is a new beginning. It's a bit like a new year, you could say. It is a new opportunity for a fresh start for all of us. Every Sunday is a little celebration of what we're doing today. It's a little celebration of Easter. Every Sunday is an opportunity not to bring an end, but it is a new beginning. And that is why Sunday is important for Catholics, because it is a new beginning for us. It is an opportunity to refocus our lives, not for what's happened in the past, but for what's happening in the future. Sunday is also referred to as the eighth day, or the new and the unending day of God's eternal kingdom, a day that goes on forever. On Good Friday, just a few days ago, we left behind the parts of ourselves that are less than perfect. And we all have parts of ourselves that are not perfect. Maybe it's our anger, maybe it's our emotions at times get out of hand. Maybe it's we're carrying a little bit too much weight. Whatever it is. We gave over all of this to Jesus, and he received them from us. He received the punishment and the guilt on our behalf. From today, we begin again. God has created us in his image and likeness, and today we are renewed in this image and likeness. Each of us are given a new life and a second chance. Today, each of us are no longer destined for death, but we are destined for eternity. And this is a great gift of the resurrection of Jesus. Mary Magdalene and her friends in our gospel today were the first witnesses to Jesus' resurrection. They went to the tomb to anoint the dead body of Jesus. But they instead experienced a violent earthquake, an angel of the Lord descending from heaven, And then there was a massive stone that had been covering the tomb. It suddenly rolled away. They are then told of the resurrection by the angel. They are filled with awe, and then they experienced the risen Jesus firsthand. Just a few nights ago, on Friday night, the storm in Cronulla this year was reminiscent of something that could have occurred on Good Friday. I'm sure many of you, if you live in Cronulla, you experienced this as well. Lightning in multiple directions, grumblings of the earth out that way and out that way. I live just across the street here, and it was quite an eerie experience. Then on Saturday morning, I woke up and there was peace. What a beautiful day it was yesterday. And the calm comes after the storm. And today, what a lovely day it is as well. Resurrection and Easter is the peace that comes after Good Friday. But after Mary Magdalene and the other women came to belief in the resurrection and experienced the resurrected Jesus, the story didn't end. The story went on. They were the first to get up and then go and proclaim the resurrection to others. They went out and shared the good news. And the same is true for each of us today. We today believe in the resurrection. We today experience the resurrected Christ through the scriptures and then through the sacraments. In a moment, we're going to have the sacrament of baptism for 2 children. Then we'll all have the opportunity of receiving the Eucharist. But the story and the journey doesn't end when this service ends this morning. We don't just get on with our lives as if nothing ever happened. At the end of Mass today, we will sing the solemn Easter dismissal for us to go in the peace of Christ. And going with the peace of Christ brings with it a mission for each and every one of us. We're called to go into the world to live as Jesus Christ, to live the resurrected Jesus in our daily lives. And so that impacts everything that we do. Our whole mindset is different. Today is not an end. Today is a new beginning. It means for each of us that we're called to go and tell others about Jesus. It means that perhaps we need to give up those things that are not of Jesus Christ. And like Mary Magdalene, each of us might be afraid to identify as Christians in our world. It can be a little bit scary. We go into the world and say, hey, I believe in Jesus. I'm trying to live Jesus in my life. Sometimes people ridicule people for that these days. And Mary Magdalene was a little afraid about this too. But the resurrected Jesus says, do not be afraid. And these words are for all of us today. Do not be afraid to love Jesus, to carry Jesus in your heart, and to bring Jesus and serve Jesus out in the world. Today, on the first day of the week, we are renewed in the image and the likeness of God. We receive the light of Christ, the light of God into us. We are washed clean from all that brings doubt and fear, and we receive the nourishment and the life-giving food of Christ, the living bread. And we do all these things so that we can go into the world with Jesus Christ in our lives and proclaim the good news and to serve Jesus Christ with love, with justice, with mercy and compassion into our world. Happy Easter to you all. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for coming in a belief and a love for Jesus. And thank you for what each of us are going to do as we leave from the church today to bring the love of Jesus Christ into our world.